my bears downstairs, and they have to be situated. Uh, can't be like sitting on them or like whatever like this. There's not that many options, so inevitably my stuffed animals end up taking up my actual seating room. And if I'm gonna move my spot, you have to move them. And it's laborious, but what are you gonna do? So, anyways, Hunger Games played so many times. Uh, it was on a channel, and um, were there commercials? I can't even remember. But I bought Divergent series a while back, and so we've gone from Midnight in Paris to Hunger Games to Divergent, and I'm not done. I also bought Valerian a while back. So after I'm tired of Divergent, I can turn on Valerian. And if you don't know anything about these titles, if you don't know anything about these productions, these movies, you are sorely misinformed. It's not because fact or fiction, it's because there's so much to unpack, if you will, unpack. We use this in this discourse in political science. There's literally like 100 different topics to discuss. And not just that, I mean, save for there being violence. There is still, a sort of confusion that I think is very relatable. There's sort of, how to say, eagerness or sort of desperation. And out of that isn't just one person's story, but it affects, in Hunger Games, like that seems like that's like the entire planet. They have their factions, and in Divergent, what do they call it? They have like erudite, things like this. Forget what they call it. But it affects these like subsects, um, SED, SECTS. um, and I was just thinking about, the fact that uh, I don't get to exercise as much as I have been known to. I used to do different stuff. I used to go to different fitness classes, or I would be a part of an extracurricular, or I would play like a pickup game or something like this. And and so, it's really interesting because when I am uh, inspired so early in the day, like before even getting out of bed, you know, um, it sort of suggests that it isn't just a internal struggle. It isn't just, my hormonal turmoil. Um, I haven't been sleeping well for at least a month, and I had been talking about getting a new bed for like at least 6 months before that. And um, anyways, so it's been a long time that I've been uncomfortable. I know you want to say that I need medicine, but I need a new bed. So, anyways, other than that, uh, it is phenomenal. And I think on a day like today, Easter, it's important not to be so self righteous. Um, I think environment plays a huge factor, at least 50%. And uh, right now, there's a bunch of leaves on the ground, and I feel, some responsibility to address that, but it's more than a day's work. And that's sort of frustrating that I can't just clean it up, right now. Um, and and so, I think I was laughing to myself because um, I've never read the Bible, but I have had like micro studies, and I've had you know interpretations, like teen interpretations, gifted to me. And I did used to go to church, things like this, but I tried several different kinds of observances. I went to a Mormon church one time, and not just that, like I've tried different things, and I feel like I should be able to do that. I mean, generally speaking, I am invited somehow, but I gone to like meditation, like, and I really enjoy that. So I would just say that with what I do know, um, as much as people try to describe it or define it, there is a lot of phenomenal aspects, and so that word is really tripping me up today. It's the disparity, the dichotomy between feeling so helpless, and then and not being able to scream, for instance, and then finding myself moving, and it's almost like an epiphany that I do get to take up space, at least this space. I'm allowed to stretch. I'm allowed to sit, things like this. And I find myself trying to, without breaking anything, without being violent or destructive, I find myself trying to take up as much room as I can with my postures and things. And I think if there was any way, but I never dance in front of anyone, so there's no way for anyone to know that. But I think I get on here, and I've always had this as a saving grace because I really do feel this sort of like regret about how scared I am and things like this, and so I don't take kindly to the comments about uh, whatever medicine. I've been trying to go to the doctor for 3 years, and I haven't been able to get there. So I really don't appreciate that. I don't have health insurance, and I don't have a budget for that. I don't have funds for that. I don't have transportation, and I tried telehealth stuff. I recently did that even with CVS, but they didn't have much to say. So I don't appreciate that. I am a reverent person, and so I do think that uh, it is predictable that I would feel, you know, uh, somehow restrained and frustrated. But I take to hear, and then I'm told that I'm bipolar, even though I'm your reference for what happened. And it's like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I mean, uh, I don't think it's being schizophrenic that I recognize the danger of being aggressive and do something else. Because for as much as we have taught and learned evolution or development or progress or change, uh, no one can say that there is a linear step by step to raise a crazy or bad person to someone who is devout and respectable. There is a point where you just have to care enough and accept that you're not going to be able to make it tippy toe by tippy toe. You have to go ahead and commit and invest and accept what you can't change and be the change that you need. And that's not being crazy. That's a life seeking individual. Thank you very much.